Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion, and in this video I'll be reviewing the final of the Europa League between Manchester United and Villarreal. And this was a final that Villarreal won, giving Unai Emery his fourth Europa League title, or trophy rather. And also apparently it was Villarreal's first ever trophy. And considering, leading up to this game, you saw the performances that United had given, and also the fact that they finished second in the Premier League, and so this was really on them. I mean, you could say there was more pressure on them to win the game, but at the same time, you kind of thought that with this comparing the two squads, you kind of just thought United would easily win this. And the starting 11 was a very positive one because in the 4-2-3-1, Pogba played as one of the defensive midfielders, where he is more attack minded, and he doesn't really offer that much defensively. But I think that they really had, Solskjaer had the confidence in his squad, and a lot of people, looking at that, despite the fact knowing that Pogba isn't really, doesn't offer that much defensively, it was understandable because, I mean, look, right, I mean, comparing the two squads, you'd expect United, if they play all their attacking options, to, roll the other side over. So again, that's why it was a positive 11. And the thing is, you look at Villarreal, right, and you look in La Liga. I think the last time I saw the La Liga tables, so this was, again towards the end of the season, so not that long ago, and the top four. So now you see Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Sevilla. They all had at least 70 odd points, and the team in fifth was Real Sociedad, and they had 56 points. So there's an 18-point gap even between fourth and fifth. And Villarreal, I think they finished seventh. I mean, you can imagine if they didn't win this, they would have been in some wilderness. And the thing is, considering, I mean, just going by the results from this season in La Liga, it's that would there have really been a window of improvement for them? I'm not so sure. And really, if they didn't win this, despite the fact there was way more pressure on United, I think that if Villarreal didn't win this, they would have really gone into some kind of a wilderness. And that's the reason why, secretly, just for them, being on kind of a bigger stage, and now they're in the Champions League. So just for them being on a bigger stage, I felt like it was important for them to win this game. And it's their first ever trophy as well, which is great for them. And so, United kind of, from the very start, United kind of were in the driving seat, and you knew that the United would have, the largest share of possession, and from very early on, Villarreal were in a defensive shape, and United kind of surrounded them. And it actually took until about the 15th minute for Villarreal's kind of first chance, and after that 15th minute, they got a few corners. Nothing much came out of them though, and the thing is, it was, up from the start, it was kind of, United's game. And, they did have the fair share of possession. But even then, United couldn't actually get through on goal. And I thought throughout the game, if you look at the opportunities, despite the fact that Villarreal's opportunities were sporadic, I felt like, when they created them, they actually had better opportunities than United did. And the thing is, I think there was a chance towards the end of, regular time. So I think the first 90 odd minutes. And where Villarreal could have scored that, and it would have been 2-1 to them. So meaning that the game wouldn't have even gone to extra time because, Villarreal would have got that second goal. And the thing is, I'll get to that bit later, but the thing is, it took them 15 minutes to actually get close to United's goal, and things went uphill from there. And I feel like up to that first goal that Villarreal scored, I feel like they actually deserved it because after the first 15 minutes, United, there were a few sloppy passes, and Villarreal kind of applied a bit of pressure that I would say induced a bit of mistakes from United. And there was a set piece where in before the game, they were talking about the fact that Maguire wasn't playing this game. So Lindelof and Bailly were the two centre-backs. And they talked about the fact that United wouldn't be that defensively solid without Maguire. And the thing is, Gerard Moreno, who's had an excellent season for Villarreal in La Liga, and he scored lots of goals this season. The thing is, he got away from Lindelof, tapped the ball in, and it was 1-0 to Villarreal. And it was deserved at that point because, as I said, they did put a bit of pressure on United, especially after the start that United got kind of surrounding Villarreal. Then, if you look at the first half in general, I thought that, the Villarreal had to do, the larger part of defending, but they looked very comfortable. And apart from one time when Bruno Fernandes kind of made a run, but the goalkeeper caught the ball, United never really got past that defensive shape of Villarreal, and they kind of just passed around them, but not to much effect. And so Villarreal went into halftime kind of feeling comfortable, and I think that they would have backed themselves to carry on this defensive vigil, as long as they didn't concede a goal. Now, as a fan and probably, anyone, we weren't exactly, no one really thought that United wouldn't score. And, in the end, United started the second half the much better team, and they scored the goal where it was a corner, and Rashford hit the ball at the goalkeeper from a decent way out. But again, this wasn't anything that the goalkeeper could have done about, because Cavani was at the right place at the right time, and it was a tap in, and it was 1-1. And after that, United started bossing the game, and really Villarreal were that defensive visual I talked about kind of became a bit scrappy, because they didn't really have the pace up front for a counter attack either. So at that point, you kind of just thought Villarreal, considering the fact that United have the way better attacking options, and you never actually thought Villarreal would score a goal in open play. I mean, you thought the best bet they would have is kind of take the game to penalties. And the thing is, I was actually very surprised when they even got up the field, later on in the game, especially so in extra time when I thought, they were the much better side in extra time. And they actually got, mostly the ball was in the United half. And I was actually very surprised it got to that stage, because at one stage there was, such a bombardment that the ball kept on going back to United. And again, they just surrounded them. But as I said, nothing much came out of it. And that's the reason why. That's the one thing that Villarreal had, is that despite the fact they were just getting absolutely dominated, it's that, they have a manager who knows how to win this league. And, with their own determination as well, I just feel like they hung in there. And they had the better opportunities. I think that they could have even won this game before extra time. But, they didn't take those. And after 120 minutes, it was 1-1, and the game went to penalties. And this was probably, the standard of penalties in this shootout was probably the best I've ever seen, in my time watching football. And the thing about United was that they put De Gea on to save, for the penalty shootout. And the fact was that apparently he hasn't saved a penalty from the 23rd of April in 2016, and he hasn't saved his last 36 penalties. And honestly, he looked a bit, I don't want to say hopeless, but he really didn't look comfortable at all. He kept on, he kept on going too early when the Villarreal players were about to take their shot, and he just went on one knee, and what you could tell he was a bit out of sorts saving those penalties. Rulli got his hand to a few of those, and maybe he would have thought that he should have saved those. But as far as De Gea is concerned, he didn't really look comfortable in saving those penalties at all. And I say saving because he didn't even. I don't think he got his hand to any of them. And as I said, he kept on going too early, and most of the penalties actually went to the left side. But it's that. He still didn't look very comfortable, and that's the reason why that was actually a huge criticism from other people. The fact is that De Gea does not have a very good record saving penalties, but he was the one who was actually saving penalties in the shootout, and he didn't save any of them. But I don't think you can blame anyone for that, because one, they wouldn't have known they would have gone to penalties, and two, you can't sub out a goalkeeper because maybe they were blaming De Gea, but I'm saying you can't sub out a goalkeeper just for penalties. I just think that, for a team that's made a final of a European competition, I just think that they would have wanted to back a player who has, served their club for quite a while and, has been, has been integral to their club. And so that's the reason why, like, I think that despite the fact that De Gea doesn't have a great record in penalties, there wasn't really much United could have done about that. And the thing is, Aki went all the way down to the goalkeepers, and it was De Gea's penalty that was saved by Rulli to give Villarreal the trophy. And I look at this and I kind of think United absolutely bottled it, because you look at the attacking 11 that they've played, and, I actually agreed with that 11 because I thought that they do have the better squad, and you'd have expected them to roll Villarreal over quite easily, but they didn't. And they got some criticism. By the way, the commentary was one of the most biased things I've seen. I mean, all right, they established that some of the Villarreal players, they came to the Premier League and, they didn't do very well, and then they went back again. But it was way too biased. It was kind of annoying. I mean, they didn't really respect Villarreal's victory that much. I mean, some of them did, some of them didn't. And, I understand this, BT Sport, they want United to win. But still, I mean, it was a bit annoying kind of seeing the bias towards United. Well, what can we do? So, as far as Villarreal winning it, I mean, I'm very happy for them because it's, I think they said it's a small town with a, near, I think, Valencia, and they have a population of about 50,000. And so they actually haven't won a trophy before. And as I said, you look at, the extremes here. If they didn't win this trophy, they could have been in some kind of wilderness. And especially with the very closed kind of top four race, you see in La Liga, I mean, you don't see many cases where the gap between fourth and fifth is 18 points. I mean, that 18 points you could say is a gap. If someone's like first and third, then that could be a gap in a very dominant season, not fourth and fifth. I mean, if anything, that just shows that the league isn't doing very well, and it's just, if Villarreal had lost this game, they would have been stuck in a kind of, as I say, I keep on saying, a wasteland where they couldn't have even been able to improve even from that. And that's the reason why you've kind of seen that they've just really not had a great season at all, that they're nowhere near even 56 points that Real Sociedad got. And so that's the reason why I'm saying that you look at that and then you look at playing in the Champions League. I mean, I don't know how far they're going to get in that, but I'm just saying, Unai Emery, his fourth Europa League trophy, and Arsenal somehow managed to make him look bad. And, I feel like you see how he was viewed in England during his time at Arsenal, and it's kind of, viewed as kind of a scapegoat. And by the time, people really had enough of him and they wanted him out, and, they did make fun of him a bit. And you look at the record that he's got, and he's won this competition 3 times in a row as well with Sevilla. And so it's just the fact that someone who was considered that much of a scapegoat while he was at England, and in the end, this is the kind of, the fact is he's won 4 Europa League titles, and probably those teams you would have never thought that, looking at those teams, you'd have never thought that they'd actually win. But I think that this team was spurred on, by their own determination, by the fact that they got to the finals, and also by the experience of the manager who knew how to win this tournament. And in the end, people will say, I just think that you look at the difference between Unai Emery and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's that whenever United have, played a big game, a final or a semi-final, they've lost it. Whereas you look at someone who knows how to win, and, even if you look at all this, it's basically against the odds. So he knows how to win against the odds. And that's the reason why, despite, all the things that, were probably against him, the squad that United have, and also the fact, I think Foyth got an injury as well. So he came back on, and then he was subbed off, after quite a while. And so really, Villarreal really had to, they didn't have any pace on the counter-attack, so they couldn't actually do anything. They had to defend for large parts of the game. And so, they thoroughly deserved this win. And that was this game. The thing is, about the managers for United, there are a few managers circling around now because Zinedine Zidane has left Real Madrid, Antonio Conte has left Inter Milan, and I just saw today that apparently Pochettino is looking to go back to Spurs. I have no idea why he's doing that because he's won a trophy at PSG, and he has better players at PSG. He plays Champions League football. I mean, it doesn't make sense unless they want to keep Harry Kane, and so they're just having talks with him. But even then, would it really work? I'm not so sure. But coming back to this is that there are managers available for United to go to. I feel like they have the clout to go for these managers. And the thing is that apparently Zidane, the thinking you may go to Juventus, but would you rather go to United or Juventus at this point in time? I mean, if Ronaldo leaves, then if Zidane, I mean, a serial winner, if he goes to Juventus, and you look at that squad, that isn't filled with bad players, but what is he actually gonna have to work with? And that's the reason why I just feel like, I mean, this may be a bit of a long shot, and this, it'll be interesting to see how this actually works. But I feel like Zidane at United, and I'm actually saying this, it would give them, a winner coming into a club that's won everything that there is to win in football. I just think that it has a potential chance to go well, and that's the reason why I wouldn't mind seeing Zidane United. I feel like it'd be much better off than going to Juventus in a side that is fragmented and really just scraped Europe this season. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, let's see how it goes. The thing is, United came second in the Premier League this season, so they've had a good season. But I just feel like they're a club that's sometimes a bit too unfairly criticized. It's kind of when Solskjaer goes on a run, everyone says keep him in, and the moment he loses a game, he gets criticized. The players get criticized as well. I just feel like they just can't really do things enough to please everyone. And look, they don't have to please everyone, but I'm saying that the fact is that I feel like they're sometimes a bit criticized by the fact that whenever they coincidentally, well, not coincidentally, it's just the fact that they lose the big games in the end. And so whatever progress they've made throughout the season, it kind of comes back to the fact that they look at the manager and they probably would want another one. And so yeah, that's the thing. It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. But personally, for me, I would like to see Zidane at United. And if everything goes well, if Ronaldo goes to United and Zidane goes to United, then things will be pretty good. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and please share this video with your friends. And remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?